Hi guys, this is take two. So we're gonna try to sew around our little bunny here. And if you're following along on YouTube, your sampler should look like this, and I explained what stitches we used. But if you're following through Facebook Live, then this is the next step. So I'm going to do a chain stitch around the back side of the bunny. And the color might be a little difficult to see, but it should be changing here shortly. So this is the bunny's back, and we are just going to chain stitch this up and around. Chain stitch is taking a short stitch and putting your needle through the short stitch, just like that, splitting it. Can you see that? You split that with your needle and pull it through. So the chain stitch is exactly what it looks like. It looks like a chain. And you'll just continue to work your way up around the bunny. And again, this is a free PDF for the month of February 2020 if you just request it via my website. The website is Sewing with Steam LLC, and it's in my bio, and you can find me pretty much anywhere online. I'm pretty much on, let's see, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Sometimes I'm on Twitter, not a whole lot. But it's better just to contact me through my actual website. That way I get that. So try to keep each stitch the same length, and then you'll just take your needle and go up between the stitch before. I can show you this. Oops. Alright, so I'm going to go a little bit slower with this next stitch. Let me see if I can bring my camera closer without losing clarity here. Okay. Alright, so with your needle, let me get in the light. If you're able to tell the chain here, hold on. Okay, you're going to go in front of the last stitch, your needle, pull it through. Now take your needle and put it between the stitch you just made and pull up. Work at your own pace. Alright, and if you want to continue to follow along, then I will be switching on over to, I believe Instagram is where I'm going to head on over to do some live Also, now the little bunny hairs are over here. I'm going to take a short stitch. Now remember, we did a short stitch before on the basket over here. We did a series of short and long stitches inside. So all I'm going to do is the short stitches on the side of the bunny's head, which they show up better in this one. Right here, okay? And you can use any color of embroidery floss you would like to. Alright, so I'm going back down around the bunny's ear, and I'm going to continue with my chain stitch. You'll have to excuse the background noise. The family has the TV on, so not much I can do about that. We'll continue the chain stitch around the ear. Okay. I'm actually going to go up over this stitch here, and we will fill this in later. Okay, this is still the chain stitch. I am not going to change my stitch out right now, so hopefully you're getting a hang of the chain stitch. You can put your finger next to the stitch you want to go in. And if you keep your fingers centered in the stitch on the front and the back of your fabric, you won't stab your fingers. So you always want to use your fingers to feel where that needle is, okay, for safety reasons. I have poked my fingers so many times, and when I was first learning how to hand sew, I would poke them so bad that my fingers would bleed. So if I can save you that pain by giving you this tip to use your fingernails to guide you, please save yourself some pain. Now, if your stitches aren't turning out exactly the way you would like, we can always go in, or you can send me a picture and I can kind of guide you through maybe to see what kind of technique you were using and how we can correct it. So that's always an option through the private membership group that I have. Let's see here. Alright, so for this part, the bunny's hair, that I'm going to skip over that for this stitch. That's a completely different stitch that we're going to learn later this week. But for the front side of the bunny, we can go ahead and continue chain stitching around. I'm trying not to yawn, I apologize. So I got my workout in this already this afternoon, so that's off the to-do list, and I'm excited about that because I have so much work to do. Let's see, I have to get my license plates for the car because they're due for the state of Ohio. And what else? I do have to go grocery shopping. I do have to take an online course for my company, for my business, I should say. And then I created a PDF training and printable workbook that I am going to be offering to creators such as myself that are trying to break into the business of selling their needlework for income. So that I started writing that book back in the beginning of January, I believe. It's done. I have the PowerPoint slide. It's completed, so that was nice to have that completed. If you do anything with PowerPoints, you know that you need to stay up to date on changes in the software. Alright, let me try to get the back of this. I want to make my tail a little bit shorter. It gives me a little bit more room to work. So we're just going to continue to chain stitch. I need to put these scissors in the camera because my camera keeps zooming in and out on the iPad. Give it a second. Alright, looks like we're back. So we will continue the chain stitch. And one more to finish off the ear. We'll come around and start the front of the bunny's face. I don't talk through the whole thing, so yes, I'm still here. I'm sorry. I start to, I do a lot of thinking while I hand stitch. It helps, I don't know, it's very calming for me. And now we're at the bunny's hand. And let me look at my notes. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is maybe just go underneath the bunny's hand and come back up and get his chin, because I am going to use a different stitch for his little fingers. A chain stitch is not going to work very well for that. And we will continue with the chain stitch around his little face. If you're new to hand embroidery, what would be some ideas? What would make it easier for you to learn? You know, what could I do to make your lessons easier? All right, I'm going to finish off his little face, and then I have to tie this. Let me get there. Okay, and I have to tie this off because I've run out of floss. Let's leave the scissors there. Feet are cold today. Let me move this out of the way. Get some more. Whoops, floss. Sorry about that. So what we need to do is go around his belly right here, and this is part of his other arm here. Okay, so we will do this one here, cut it, get that out of the way, leave the scissors here so the camera has something to focus on since I move so much. Let's see here. Too bad we can't play background music, but you know how that works, right? Just tying a knot on the back of this. We'll go through here. And hopefully the camera zooms or focuses. The scissors there. We'll do a back stitch around the front of his belly. No, I'm sorry, not the back stitch. We are going to continue the chain stitch around his belly. Here we go. Whoops. So we continue to do the chain stitch. I think this is like my favorite stitch so far. Let's see here. I'm getting all tangled up back here. There we go. Happens to the best of us, let me tell you. There we go. We're going to go around the bunny's belly with our chain stitch. So we will continue to chain stitch around the little bunny's belly. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and go around his belly all the way and then go down and chain stitch around his legs. So I can't stream live on YouTube yet because I'm not at 1,000 subscribers. So that was something that they recently changed. So I'm like, oh no. Oh well, right? So it is. Alright. Almost lost the tail, so you want to keep an eye on the tail so you don't lose grip of that. So we're going to go down between the lines of the bunny. I've been adding pictures to my online portfolio on my main website actually, and then of like the memory bears and some of the fabric dolls that I've made. They're primitive in nature. They're like mixed media, where I've taken wire and paint and different textiles and things like that and created one-of-a-kind pieces of art. I have a bad habit of giving everything away or selling it. I just find the enjoyment in creating the piece and then selling it. You know, I don't really keep anything for myself. I think part of being a creator, we probably are all pretty guilty of making these beautiful items and then selling them and moving on to the next thing. So my idea is to try to recreate simply by looking at the pictures, because once I see the picture of something I've made, I can remember every single step it took for me to create that item, which is, I mean, even down to what type of sandpaper and metal I used. I mean, that's just, I can't remember what to buy at the grocery store, but I can look at something that I made 15 years ago and remember exactly what item it took for it. So, I mean, if you're a creator and you are the same way, I'd love to know about that. I think that's mind-boggling how our brains can remember that. But I thought that was pretty cool. So I've been uploading those and making a list of what each item took. Alright, so I'm just working on the bunny's legs. Just about done. And then I'm going to move on to another stitch for tomorrow. I'm not going to show you this stitch until tomorrow, but hopefully you will come along and see that. Meanwhile, if you're looking for a new hobby for 2020, reach out to me. I'd love to hear about it. We can have some fun, I think. Stitching is for men as well. Just so you know, plenty of surgeons use needle and thread every single day in their profession, and they had to learn to sew somewhere. So there you have it. One last chain stitch for this leg right there. Alright, I'm going to tie that one off. I don't want to go through. Let me see if I can see that. Okay, sorry. This is a Scentsy Go, and it smells so good. You put little pods in it, like little air pods. So this one is called Vanilla Bean Buttercream. So where I'm sewing at right now smells like vanilla bean. It smells so good. And then I just have the little light on. It changes colors. But I thought that was pretty cool. Okay, tied that off. Snip it. All right. Okay, so now we are going to be done with him for this because these are different stitches. So these arms are going to be a different stitch than today. Today was a chain stitch, and then we'll move on to a different stitch tomorrow. I hope that you are following along, and if you have any questions, let me know. Bye guys.